My name is Seth, and today we're going to be talking about Adam Duvall signing a one-year deal with the Braves, and we're bringing in a special guest, Stephen Teal, the co-editor at HouseThatHankBuilt.com, to discuss Adam Duvall with us and what exactly that means for Jarred Kelenic. That's right. I have a dog with a Braves helmet. That's what really this whole intro is about. You didn't need me to tell you all that stuff, but she won't keep the helmet on. So I really wanted to do one of these. Oh, look at that. Look at that. I guess I should have started with that. I screwed up. I really messed that up. Let's try it again. Welcome to Talkin' Tomahawk Podcast. My name is Seth, and this is Topa. I'm here with Stephen Teal, the co-editor of HouseThatHankBuilt.com. Stephen, we've been writing together at HouseThatHankBuilt.com, I think since I first started there, which was quite a while ago. So how long have you been there, before we get into today's topic?
First, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. And I think I've been there about 5-6 years now. It's been a while. I've been there since when it was Tomahawk Take still, and then through the name change. So it's been a little while.
Adam Duvall signed a one-year deal with the Atlanta Braves. He's coming home, sort of. He's coming back. It'll be his third stint with Atlanta. Braves, if you recall, traded for him back in 2018 from the Cincinnati Reds. Then, of course, they traded for him again in that magical 2021 season as a part of the group of players and the myriad of moves that Alex Anthopoulos made to save the season after Acuna was hurt and to win the championship. And he was fantastic that year. He had 16 homers in, how many games? I wrote it down, but it was 55 games that year, 16 home runs, phenomenal. And he's back. He's back. Duvall is back. So the question is, did this surprise you?
Yes and no. So I kind of expected it in the offseason. It makes sense. Alex likes to go get players that have played for him before. So in that sense, I kind of expected it. Once they got Kelenic, I would say, no, I didn't expect it. So a little surprised by it in that sense, because I think we all just assumed, well, it's going to be Jarred Kelenic and then Forrest Wall or Eli White or somebody's going to take that next spot. So yeah, I mean, it's a little surprising, but when you look at it deeper, you're like, okay, it kind of makes sense. The Braves needed a deeper bench. Duvall gives you a power bat. I mean, I know his numbers are a little down in the last couple of years, but I mean, he gives you that. He's got a good clubhouse guy. So it makes sense when you really think about it. But yeah, I'd say a little surprising.
A little surprising, yeah. Prior to the move, I mean, we all know the struggles Jarred Kelenic has had since he came up to the major leagues, but it felt like everybody believed that coming to Atlanta was going to be the thing that set him on the right path. And I thought he was going to have a pretty long leash too. I mean, obviously if he continued to be Jarred Kelenic, then there were going to have to be some decisions made, but I thought they were going to give him a long leash. It doesn't. I guess that's not written in stone yet, and he might still have a leash. But I guess we'll get into that. I know. So the Braves gave up quite a bit to get Kelenic. Obviously we'll go back to December 3rd, which feels like ages ago now. And we're paying millions of dollars to the White Sox and to the Pirates as a result of these trades to bring Kelenic in. And I mean, we're paying the Pirates over $9 million to take Marco Gonzalez from us. And just all the moves that they made to get Kelenic, if they're pivoting to Adam Duvall at this point or platooning with him, and Kelenic continues, say, to be a below average hitter as he's been his whole career, do you see a scenario where they switch completely to Duvall? And if they do you feel like maybe all these trades for Kelenic were they wasted? Is it a bust?
I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't. It's hard because it's like I think I see that they still are working on Kelenic because I mean he's a couple weeks in the spring he started working on a swing change, so that tells me they see something in him. Like they clearly aren't just like throwing in the towel. And even based on some of the things Alex has said, after the deal, it's more of about making the team better. Of course, we have to just take that with a grain of salt. Hope that that is the truth. Alex is pretty transparent, so I like to hope that that's the case. Um, I mean, the only scenario we could see that happening is if Kelenic just literally can't get it together. I mean, if he can't get any, I feel like after the first month or two of the season, I feel like they'll give him a little bit of a leash, the first month or so. But if he just can't get it, I mean, you kind of have to figure it out. I mean, if you have someone like Duvall who's played every day before, why not give him the chance? But yeah, I mean that's the only instance where I could see that being the case.
Okay. Well, I might be jumping ahead a little bit. I have thoughts on that, but I want to ask you, since the Braves, it was reported almost immediately, it seemed like that uh, when Duvall was signed, that he would be platooning with Kelnick this year. And so, just for fun, and for us, whatever, for people who may not completely understand the whole purpose of a platoon, it's not just resting guys or hoping is one of them pulls ahead. What is the purpose of a platoon when a Major League Baseball team employs this strategy? Could you explain that? Like I'm a
Yeah,
6-year-old.
I'll do my best. So basically, I mean, the easiest way to explain it, a platoon is two players are sharing the same position, basically. So like typically you have in this situation, for example, you have a left-handed bat that's usually better against right-handed pitching. Right-handed bats typically better against left-handed pitching. So usually you use it that way just to kind of do a trade-off there. Like sometimes one of the players is a better defender, so you want them in the field, and so it just kind of it's a bunch of things like that that are considered. But most things there, it's basically they're just sharing that position to give the team the best value possible.
Right. Okay. So we have a left-handed hitter. We have a right-handed hitter. We have a lefty in Kelnick. We have a right-handed hitter in Duvall. So what you're saying is the strategy is because you've got Duvall who hit his right-handed, so he's going to crush lefties, and you're saying that Kelnick is a lefty, so he's going to crush righties. And if you combine them together, it makes like one super player.
Yeah,
And
in
that's the
theory.
idea behind the platoon. So then that must mean that Kelnick absolutely demolishes right-handed pitching and vice versa for Duvall, correct?
Yeah, you would think so. Yeah, that's how you'd hope it would be. Yeah, absolutely. But I actually looked that up, and honestly, I was just comparing 2023 numbers since Duvall's been in the league a lot longer than Kelenic. I mean, their numbers are almost practically the same. If you look at Duvall's, against right-handed, we'll go against right-handed pitching and then compare with the Kelenic. So, right last year, Duvall batted 248 with an 863 OPS, so not too bad. Had 13 doubles, 18 homers, and 46 RBIs across 84 games. So pretty decent, honestly. Part of that was inflated by how great his start was last year for Boston. He went on a huge tear early on. And then Kelenic, I mean, it's not far off, 251 average. He's a little bit better on base percentage at 330 versus 312. OPS is lower, 738. He does have higher double count, 22 doubles, 7 homers, 34 RBIs last year, over 99 games against right-handed pitching. So honestly, I mean, you have to also keep in mind Kelenic was injured, missed half the year, so it's not an even count there. But I mean, less home runs, but more doubles. So you would think, oh man, there's not really an advantage there. It's almost like you could just put Duvall in there and there wouldn't be a difference. And if you look at left-handed pitching, Kellenic's batting a little bit better, 259 in 2023 versus 244 for Duvall. So, I mean, just kind of depends on, I guess, the situation. And, both of them kind of dealt with health issues last year. So you kind of have a little bit of caveat there. But ultimately, seeing a platoon thing it makes you scratch your head a little bit, if that's the plan, at least.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wonder if this will be more about riding the hot hand rather than depending on which hand the pitcher's throwing the ball with.
Yeah.
For fun, Jarred Kelenic is hitting 204 for his career. Do you know
Hmm.
what Adam Duvall is hitting off of right-handed pitching in his career? You looked it up, didn't you? You already got it, don't you? You got it in the notes. Do you?
I don't have it in the notes actually, but I can pull that up real quick here. I don't remember. I want to say
No,
it's pretty
no, no.
good.
I know what it is. I was asking you if you knew.
Oh
Do you
no,
think
I
it's
don't know.
higher?
I
All
I
right, it's
would think it's
230.
probably higher.
It's definitely higher than 204. It's 232. Okay, but here's even more fun. Do you know what Adam Duvall is hitting against left-handed pitching over his
I
career?
don't. I don't.
232.
Oh wow, exactly the same. That's crazy.
Exactly the same. Yeah. His OPS, I'm sorry, his OPS is actually 10 is or however you want to say it's 10 points difference between left-handed pitching and right-handed pitching over the course of his
Huh.
entire career. He's 770 against lefties, 760 against righties.
Okay.
So I mean, the dude has been, yeah, we were looking at some small sample sizes, especially with the injuries they had last year. But
Yeah.
over the course of his entire career, he has consistently been who he is against lefties or righties.
Mm.
And either way you cut it, he's better. He's been better than who Jarred Kelenic is at this point. Obviously, we hope he's going to take that step. This is all about potential
Hmm.
and a high ceiling with Jarred Kelenic. And this is about the Braves unlocking that potential. So when we look at his numbers and we see Kelenic is hitting, he's got a 696 OPS against right-handed pitching in his career and a 566 against lefties.
Yep.
Um, we don't the idea we don't want that. The Braves don't bring him over because of that. They bring him over because they think they're going to figure out a way to make him useful.
Yes.
Um, and I wonder though, just the fact that they brought in Duvall. Does this mean that they got a good look at him and maybe they're going, not he's a lost cause, but maybe he's a little farther away than we thought? Because the other day he had a sort of a personal a hitting session where Snit said he was going to go back there personally, take a look at the swing himself, and then it's like they came running out of there and went, "Get Duvall on the phone. We got to get him in here." Um, so maybe do you think maybe he's a little bit longer term of a project than they anticipated, or do you think they knew this? They knew this coming in, and they because he's under team control for 5 years.
Yeah. I mean, logic says to me they knew this coming in that you're giving up a lot, but you're getting a lot of years of control, and he doesn't have to be the superstar that Seattle wanted him to be. I mean, yeah, Acuna, Harris. I mean, there's so many players here that's like Kelenic can just be himself, and I think that's a lot of the issue is that I've heard him talk in interviews about how his confidence was shot. He felt like he wasn't having fun. I mean, he was he's an emotions guy. He's kind of like Fultonevich in that way, where he wears his emotions on his sleeve, and if he's not having fun, you're going to know it, and he's going to perform
Mm.
poorly. So, part of it's probably that they're probably just taking this as like a insurance policy where if Kellenic just takes a little bit longer than they expected, you got a seasoned player who can get it done, and maybe what if Kellenic figures it out, you just got a great bench bat. You know what I mean? I still think that Kellenic, even in a platoon situation, I don't think it's going to be 50-50 because we're going to see way more right-handed pitching anyway. Kellenic's going to get a majority of the bats, probably around 70% or so. So a lot of the things I've seen, I think things are progressing, but how fast that is, I mean, we just have to take their word for it, right?
Yeah. Um, you said you think he's going to get about 70% of the at bats, and I think that's probably more based on just the matchups, right-handed,
Yeah.
left-handed, right? So let's throw that out, and let's just say that you got to include the possibilities of Duvall just falling off a cliff, getting older. Include the possibilities that Kelnick doesn't progress and continues to be like an 85 OPS plus hitter, or he gets better, whatever it is. I want to know what you think is going to happen this year with the Braves outfield situation. This is more of like your guess, your gut instinct,
Hmm.
it's not an official prediction or based on your analysis, but what is your gut instinct or what do you hope happens by the end of the year?
I mean, we dropped a post earlier about the X factor for this year, and I had Kellenic as being that guy. My gut feeling is he's going to struggle for the first month. Anyone that goes through swing change, it's going to happen. I don't know. I've had the feeling since they got him that getting on a team that actually cares about their team and their players and actually takes the time to invest in them. I just feel like he's due for like a big season. Kind of Michael Harris came over. Everyone expected him to just be this great player. He took a little bit of time. They had to fix the swing, and then once he figured it out, I mean, we saw what he's become. I don't know. I just have a gut feeling he's already better defensively than Rosario. Honestly, like that's my main thing. I wanted a better left fielder in defense. We have a great offense, so anything Kelenic can contribute offensively is just icing on the cake for me. I think the Braves are going to have one of the best defensive outfields this year because of him. So that's kind of my gut feeling is I think he's going to figure it out, and he's going to at least get 20 plus home runs. I think.
Optimistic. I like it. I like it.
Have to be.
I think you're right too. I think this might take some pressure off of him too. Maybe it's not pressure that you and I were putting on him or the team maybe was putting on him,
Exactly.
but maybe pressure he felt within himself.
Yep.
Sharing the load, he's probably entering the season now. There's no expectation on a number of homers, or it's basically just get that swing right, get
Yep.
everything corrected. Um, and again, this is a long-term play though for the Braves. He's 5 years under team control. Duvall could be a mentor. He could be here to help him along. He's playing that fourth outfielder role, like you mentioned earlier, is very critical. It does address some needs for the Braves, but I love that. I love that. The X factor is Kelenic. Would you go as far to say perhaps a super deep sleeper in fantasy baseball drafts now?
I'm not. I don't have a lot of luck in fantasy baseball, but I would say, yeah, why not take a chance on him? I mean, worst case scenario, you drop him off your roster. Best case scenario, he takes off and is that player that no one expected. You know?
Yeah, I mean, look, if he gets hot this year, if he gets a stretch and he gets it going, it's his job, right?
Yeah, exactly, 100%. I mean, and also in the deal, two of the players that were sent over in the deal are injured for the Mariners, so it's almost like, I mean, the Braves kind of, why not? I mean, it just feels primed for that kind of story. So
Hmm. Okay, well, good. I'm glad you agreed to do this because I feel a lot happier and optimistic about the whole weekend now. And
good.
I'm thinking I'm going into some fantasy drafts. I might be looking at Kelnick there lower, later in the draft or in the low rounds. So
I
and
definitely
I'll
would. I mean,
probably see your
he's a
words are
perfect
going to be
bench bat.
ringing in my head when I
Yeah.
click his name.
If he
So
does
all
wrong,
right,
I'm sorry. If he does you wrong,
there's no risk at the bottom,
that's fair.
of the draft. So. But yeah, I like it. He gets on a run. He had a nice run in the beginning of the season last year, ended up with some decent numbers by the end of the year, although he struggled in the second
Hmm.
half when he did play. You get on a run like that, and this could be the thing he needs. If he can't do it in Atlanta, he ain't going to do it anywhere. We're giving him every chance. The
Honestly,
Braves are giving him every chance he needs and every opportunity and all the resources. So it's okay to still feel good about Jarred Kelenic. Go ahead and buy that jersey if you're a Braves fan. Duvall probably is only going to make the situation better for him in the long run.
you would think so. I mean, he's already great defensively. I mean, he can help him even improve more in that area. I mean, he's Adams. I mean, he's won awards as a hitter before when he was with Cincinnati. So I mean, and also he's a good teammate. I mean, everything we've heard about him, he's a great guy. So Kellenic seems like he needs those kind of people around him to kind of keep his head in the right place. So that
Hmm.
that could be another reason. I mean, we know Alex has said plenty of times, I value clubhouse guys. And maybe that's part of the 3 million. Like, hey, just come in and help this kid keep his head on straight. Like maybe that's it. I don't know. I do know that Justin Toscano actually put out a story earlier today from the Atlanta Journal Constitution, kind of talking about that a little bit. Like he and Snit both sat down with Kellenic and let him know, hey, we're going to be signing Adam Duvall. We just wanted to let you know first. And he talked about how he was appreciative of that transparency because it makes him feel respected by the team. Um, and he even said here, I'm gonna quote, this is a quote from Kellenic from the story. He said, "Adam's going to help us come in and win games, and at the end of the day, that's what's most important. It's about the team. Set the ego aside and let's win." So I mean, that right there shows you Kelenic understands his role in this team is it's the Jarred Kelenic show. It's we're here to win, and if Adam Duvall can help us win, so be it. And then he also talked about how Snit has talked about how much he likes him being here. He's excited to have him. He also talked about Kevin Seitzer being a big help and getting his confidence back up. So that kind of references back to what you were talking about you know, maybe it's a little bit longer of a process than they expected with the swing. Seitzer talked about in that article about, hey, you got to get to know these guys before you can change their swing. They have to trust you first. He even talked about that. He said, you just need to go back to being who you are, for paraphrasing a little bit, but he's like, just go back to being who you are, have fun playing baseball, and everything else will come with it. So I think, that to me is what's keeping me positive is that if Kevin Seitzer and Brian Snitker, they've been around the game a long, long time. If they see the signs of him getting things back on track and that most of his issues is just confidence, I mean, I have to just hope and see how it goes. You know what I mean?
Yep, right on. And Duvall as a fourth outfielder, if that's the way it ends up, is he's still above average. He was last year, and
Yeah.
as a corner outfielder, and he still played the majority of his games in center field for the Red Sox,
Yep.
and he
Yep.
had a negative defensive run save. But I mean, if you understand that, that is the apex of defense in baseball. So you're being
Yep.
compared to the average defensive center fielder is unbelievable. And
Yeah.
so he was still able to hold that down last year at 34 years old in center field, above average. So he can play anywhere. So this is I mean, just in the depth that he's going to provide the team, and that home run bat off the bench, you know, he still hit homers last year. He was
Yeah.
still hitting dingers. So do you remember how many he had? I didn't jot that down, but I'm thinking
Um,
he was over 20, wasn't he?
I think it was 21. Let me
21.
see.
Okay.
21. Yep.
Yeah. And that was a very limited game action too. Um, but that's
Yeah.
funny
Just
because
just over 100
21.
games, I believe. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So he's still got that long ball, still had that going last year. I actually know that too. I
Absolutely.
remember I had him on my fantasy team last year too, even though he was with Boston. But 21 homers is exactly what Jarred Kelenic's 162 game average is right now. So hopefully Duvall help
Interesting.
him bring that up.
Yeah, that'd be
Yeah.
good. And then, I mean, a minor thing to consider too is Acuna's knee. I mean, I don't think it's really that big of a problem, but having him on there to, help if something were to happen, God forbid, Adam could play right field too. Um, and then also, you got another DH candidate. For some reason, Ozuna just decides to not be good. You could plug Adam in there if you wanted to, or just give Ozuna a day off. I mean, it helps lengthen the lineup a little bit in that way too. So,
Yeah, it is. You're right. It's important to remember when you have a lineup as stacked as the Braves lineup is, that you're always, if you don't have depth and you don't have guys like Duvall ready to go on the bench, then
yeah.
you are an injury away from one guy is a huge percentage of a baseball lineup, and you're an injury away from taking out a huge percentage of your
Hmm.
production. So yeah, depth is
Yeah.
really, really important. I'm happy with both these moves. Bringing
Yeah.
in Kelnick is great at the cost for 5 years of control and the potential, and then bringing in a guy like Duvall. I'm happy and I'm ready for this season to start.
I am too.
Um,
Yeah, and it honestly, it kind of helped ease my worries about the Braves bench because I'm going to be quite honest, it was pretty weak, honestly, up until this point. I mean, we don't even know who the backup infielder is going to be yet. I mean, Guillorme's kind of seems like the guy, but he's not played a lot this spring yet. Fletcher's been doing pretty good, but like it's like you look at those names, you're like, well, okay, that's okay, they're fine,
mhm.
but it doesn't really like the past couple of years we've gotten used to the Braves having a really deep bench, and having Adam there makes me feel a little bit better about that at least. So I'm definitely ready for baseball.
All right. Well, having you on made me feel better about everything. So I appreciate you coming on. I know you got a busy weekend ahead of you, and we are. I think we've touched on enough. I think everybody's good. We're ready to go into the weekend. I'll be at the Braves game on Sunday, and I'll I'll be thinking about your words. If I get to see Kelnick or Duvall there, I'll let them know what you said. Uh,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Maybe you'll get to see a dinger, man. Maybe he'll hit one out.
a Kelnick dinger, that would be good.
Yeah,
So,
it'd be
all right.
nice.
Well, listen, Stephen, I appreciate you coming on. Everybody, make sure you check out all you're busy man at housethathankbuilt.com. The editor, you write a ton of articles over there, so you're editing everything that goes through, and you're writing all the stuff. You're pumping out every bit of Braves coverage that there is. Basically, goes through you, and you guys. We I'm still a part of it, but a small part. But I cover, the website covers everything, the news, the angles on the news. It helps you dive into what to expect from news. So make sure you check out housethathankbuilt.com and take a look at Steven's work over there if you haven't already, but the odds are you have. But thank you for coming on.
Absolutely, man. I've been more than happy to be here.
Yep, it's good chatting with you. I'm gonna hang up now. This is where it gets awkward. Or
Okay.
do you want to say goodbye? Or goodbyes are always awkward for me.
Hey, I'll make it easy for you, man.